Well, I guess I caught a little bit of the flu or whatever's going around. I guess we're having an active flu season. It's funny, just a couple days ago, I was thinking how lucky I've been this year that I made it all the way to the end of February and hadn't gotten the flu or anything, even though I didn't get any kind of a flu shot or anything this year. But I guess that didn't last forever. Just sitting around today, watching YouTube and stuff. I saw a video yesterday, though, that kind of cracked me up, some of the comments on it. This, some guy was talking about, another one of those things where they get into, the Western women and all that shit, and how horrible they are. And how you just can't, women just don't appreciate what men do for them and how tough it is to be a man and whatever, and Western women are just shit, basically. But what cracked me up was one of the comments. There was a guy who said, made the point that a lot of men, they blame women, even though there are plenty of good women around. And a lot of times it's just because the man isn't holding up his end of the bargain or whatever and drops the ball. And of course, you had somebody who made a reply to that. And it was just one word, simp, which is what a lot of these guys like to call other men to make themselves feel cool, I guess, like they're tough and in control. They can't find a woman, but they're badasses and tough and in control. And obviously the problem couldn't possibly be them, And so, since they can't find a Western woman who will give them the adoration and worship that they think they deserve, the respect that they think they deserve, or whatever, and then they go off and find somebody else in some other country or whatever. It was interesting, though, the one guy who was making the original comment, he was talking about the incel philosophy. And I hadn't really thought of these guys like that before, all these people who are whining about Western women on YouTube and everything, all these Philippines expats and people in other places. The whole incel thing, that became a popular phrase a few years back, means involuntarily celibate. And, these guys who are apparently not sexually active or anything or romantically involved, even though they would like to be, and get together online and bitch about it and blame women for the world's problems and the fact that, it's these horrible, evil women who run society and have emasculated men today. And obviously there are, you can say some of these man-hating, penis-hating lesbians out there who seem like they're running things sometimes, and like the women's liberation movement and so forth, who anything that has to do with men is evil. I read an article one time long ago. I think it was in Cosmo one time. I was working for my brother's janitorial service, and I went in. I mopped the floor at this one place, and this little grocery store. We used to go in and wax their floors and stuff, and I went in there. I was just waiting for the floor to dry before I buffed it, and standing there reading something on the magazine rack, this Cosmo magazine, and it was an article about women and guns, and basically the whole point of the article seemed to be that, firearms are an extension of man's penis, the tool that he has used to oppress women and, through the centuries and so forth. And how could any woman take up this weapon of male oppression? It was basically seemed to be the point of the article, which seemed to have been written by, one of these famous, feminazis, as people like to refer to them. There's some stupid stuff out there, okay? But a lot of these guys who seem to hate Western women, I don't know. I never really thought of it before in terms of an incel kind of thing, because a lot of these guys, they have no issues with being sexually or active or romantically involved. You see them in the Philippines on YouTube going through woman after woman, so it doesn't seem like they're involuntarily celibate, but apparently they can't seem to find anybody in the West that meets their criteria. But I thought that was interesting that he put that kind of incel twist on things, because I guess if these guys had stayed here in America or wherever where these Western women are, maybe that would be them involuntarily celibate just because they couldn't find anybody that wanted to be involved with them or whatever. Whereas when they go off to Southeast Asia or somewhere, they don't have any issues with that, because they are capable of being more attractive to women there than they are to women here, who have different desires and needs, and perhaps a different cultural background, where they are a little bit more respectful, more traditional kind of way they view relationships. Though obviously, you see a lot of these women in the Philippines, it's debatable how traditional they are. You keep hearing about what a wonderful, the Catholic, traditional morals and stuff. But everywhere you look, there are unwed teenage mothers. They're not exactly, you talk about traditional values. They don't. It's not like they're all, a bunch of little virgins or something running over there waiting for the, to give themselves to their husband. So I don't know about as far as the cultural part of it, but still, even at that point, they are trained, and the way they're brought up and raised, they learn how to cook and be responsible for their families and take care of things. And even if you're just their boyfriend or whatever, they're generally going to treat you right. And when they are in a relationship, they seem to treat it pretty seriously. But on the other hand, you've got a lot of women over there who, they might be involved with you, and then when you're not around, they're involved with somebody else. Maybe it's another foreigner, maybe it's a Filipino. So buyer beware no matter where you go. But a lot of these guys, this view they have of Western women and how evil they are, and how they just had to move somewhere else to be appreciated for who they are and all their hard work and everything. I don't know, it kind of excuse me, kind of gets a little bit over the top sometimes, I think. But anytime someone comes along and points out that maybe the women were just making the best choice for themselves, and maybe they didn't have enough to offer women in the West compared to what they have to offer, some woman in the Philippines, oh, well, then you're a simp, So it's kind of interesting to see it framed that way in those comments, kind of like the incels versus the simps. But it was kind of interesting to me just to kind of look at it from that new reference, the new frame of reference. Because that's kind of what it is, A lot of these guys, I never really thought of them before as like incels. But when you listen to the way they whine about the women over here and how they had to go somewhere else to get laid or whatever, it's maybe an apt description, And of course, those people, especially when they get online and bitch about their relationships or the women they're involved with, even if it's they go over there and they find a Filipina and then they break up and then they go online and publicly broadcast the whole thing. If you disagree with their perspective on things and you don't view them as the innocent victim and everything they did was right and the woman was wrong, well then obviously you're a simp, That's just their slur of choice these days, if you don't agree with their little incel philosophy. But I guess that's an argument and a debate that's never going to go away among the Philippine expat community or the expats in any location. And certainly it's, to me at least, one of the most entertaining arguments. It's fun to see everybody rip each other over this stupid shit.